Welcome to Extraterrestrial Reality. Today we're going to find out which UFO debunkers are absolutely, completely stupid and which UFO debunkers are just liars. Now, for the past couple of weeks, I've been running some polls on Spotify, on each episode that I've been posting on Spotify, asking questions with regard to UFO debunkers and whether they are stupid or lying about the subject. And these are people that are still active. Some are more active as in UFO debunking than others, but for the most part, they are all still active people. The 8 people that I've chosen. And the first one is Stephen Greenstreet, the New York Post reporter. Now, this guy pictured here, I mean, I don't know what you want to say there. It looks like he's, let's just be nice. We'll say it looks like he's having an unhealthy episode in this image. But this guy here has been, he's been doing this basement office for a few years, this video vlog or something for the New York Post where he was talking about UFOs. And he seemed like he, initially when he started out, he was, someone seemed like more in the pro-UFO disclosure camp, but as time went on, he's completely flipped, and he's now a UFO debunker. He's regularly attacks Skinwalker Ranch, the people running the show there at Skinwalker Ranch, the people that investigate that. He's talking about those people. He talks very negatively about people like Lou Elizondo and efforts in the past to cause UFO disclosure. He talks against it now. He seems like he's really close with the Pentagon, particularly with Susan Go, the Pentagon spokesperson. And so he seems very nasty. Of all the bunkers out there, this guy, he seems very disingenuous, and he comes off as very stupid and idiotic. I mean, someone you just don't want to listen to, or even I can't even imagine someone like this having too many friends. I mean, what kind of people would want to be hanging out with this guy? But you have to wonder, is he stupid though, or is he lying? I mean, because there's no other choice, as I've been pointing out on my show a lot in the past few months. I mean, there's no other choice, especially now. I mean, I've been presenting here on this show for over 6 months now, the absolute proof that shows we're not alone. And even before that, I mean, there was enough evidence to show, way more than enough evidence to show that there's some kind of alien presence on this planet. So you have to wonder, what's Stephen Greenstreet's game? Anyway, let's go to the poll. Now, this was for the episode on Spotify. UFO debunkers insist that they were right. It didn't work out. Now, so far, there's 36 votes on this, and 17 people, or 47.2%, say Stephen Greenstreet is stupid, while 19 people, or 52.8%, say he's lying. And the question was, is New York Post reporter Stephen Greenstreet lying about UFOs in his public statements, or is he stupid about the subject? Well, I'm going to go with the majority who say he's lying, because I think he's lying. I think he's doing it for reasons unknown. I do not know. It's been suggested, and even I put out this one time, this possibility is that he's just doing it to have access to the people at the Pentagon, to get comments from them. Maybe he's just a turncoat in reality, and he's really wants to get to the bottom of it. That's what some people think. I don't think that's the case. I think this guy's an egomaniac, and I think he's just lying about it, and he just enjoys the access that he receives from the Pentagon by basically being a puppet for them. That's what I think. I don't think this guy's sincere whatsoever. I think he's a liar. That's just my opinion. It's a free country, and you're allowed to have this opinion. And of course, the poll here shows that a majority say he's lying. The 19 people say he's lying, compared to 17 people who say he's stupid. Maybe we could call him a stupid liar. I don't know, because it's to anybody with half a brain in their skull. I mean, it's too obvious. It's just so obvious that the guy's insincere and lying about this subject. He started off as someone who seemed like he wanted to get to the bottom of it, and now he just seems like he's someone who wants to just drag people's name through the mud who are interested in UFO disclosure. So I think he's lying, but that's where I'm at with it. And then for the episode, Mick West turns down $5,000 offer from Scott Roeder to analyze the Las Vegas alien case. I had asked this question about Mick West. Is Mick West lying about the alien presence, or is he stupid about it? And so far on that poll, there are 30 votes, and 9 people, or 30%, say he's stupid, compared to 21 people, or 70%, who say he is lying. Mick West. Now, this guy is totally disingenuous, totally dishonest as far as I'm concerned. I think he's lying. I would have to imagine that, he doesn't have any problem jumping on different sorts of video evidence when it comes to this subject. He has no problem, trying to debunk things like the gimbal UFO or any other UFO video for that matter. But he won't touch things like the Vegas alien case, where that's a case where you have a guy, Scott Roeder, a crime scene reconstruction expert with 30 plus years of experience, and he's a video analysis expert along with members of his team, and they made the determination that there were indeed creatures in the backyard of the Kenmore family back in 2023 during the Las Vegas alien incident. Now, you would think Mick West, the debunker that he is, right? You think he would have immediately, once this information came out earlier this year, it was back in early April when Scott Roeder started making his assertions, basically proving that there's an alien presence here. You would have thought that Mick West, based on his past actions, the way he handles things like gimbal, he would have done something with the video, but he never did. He never has. He won't do it. I think he did do it privately, and he realized that there is something there. That's what I think. I mean, to me, right, the second that this story came out, he would have been like a fly on a dog turd on a hot summer afternoon going after this. And he probably did. And when he saw what was there, he's like, oh, I better stay away from this one because this will completely defeat my debunking grift. That's what he was thinking. That's what happened. I mean, he's been offered $5,000. People have asked him, hey, why don't you give us your analysis on that video? He won't do it, right? Because he obviously looked at it himself and he can't. He realized that he can't do it. So that makes him a liar. So yeah, I have to agree with the majority on this one. Yes, Mick West is lying about this. Again, this is just my opinion. Okay, we're going to move on here to the next one. Let's see here. Oh, yes. This was for the episode Debunkers Unravel Over Vegas Aliens / UFOs Swarm Military Installations. I asked this question: is guerrilla skepticism on Wikipedia founder Susan Gerbic stupid or lying about UFOs and extraterrestrials / non-human intelligence? Now, before we even get into the comments here, I just want to comment on Susan Gerbic. Okay, now all of these people, by the way, you'll find a listing for them on Wikipedia, and so if you want to read about them, their backgrounds. Now, she's a columnist for the Skeptical Inquirer, and she's also the founder of this organization called Guerrilla Skepticism of Wikipedia. And she got into this as she didn't like phony mediums, and that's why she's a skeptic. She started this skeptical organization because she didn't like people who are claiming to commune with the dead in order to turn a profit. And there's this. I'm going to point this out here. There are a lot of things. There are a lot of these debunkers and skeptics. I mean, some of them, right? I would agree with them on a lot of things. There are phonies out there, and they should be exposed. If there's phony mediums, that's an old business. That one. There's a lot of people out there that trick other people, trick them out of their money because they make them believe that they are communicating with their dead loved ones. And that's something I could understand. However, I when it comes to this, right, because UFOs, because it was for a long time, it's been considered, pseudoscience and all that kind of thing, right? And it's not taken seriously by the scientific community for decades because of the stigma that was deliberately created for it from the military and debunkers of the past. Of course, she just naturally, of course, she's going to think someone like Susan Gerbic, oh, there's nothing to it. Although I am very certain she probably never really investigated this stuff herself. She's just going along with it because it's all, as far as she's concerned, this guerrilla group that she has on Wikipedia that's debunking, trying to debunk every UFO and alien encounter that's famous on different various Wikipedia pages, because she's just going along with the program that the monster that she created. I don't think she knows anything about this. I actually suggested to her one time on Twitter that she come on my show and I debate Roswell with her. I don't think she knows anything about what happened in Roswell. I think a lot of UFO debunkers don't know the whole story of Roswell, because if they did, they wouldn't talk as stupid as they do about that case as well as other UFO cases. But anyway, and it was for that episode I asked, is guerrilla skepticism on Wikipedia founder Susan Gerbic stupid or lying about UFOs and extraterrestrials NHI? 33 votes so far. 13 people, or 39.4%, say she's stupid about it, while 20 people, or 60.6%, say she's lying. On this one, I am going to go with the minority on this one. I think she's just plain old stupid when it comes to this. I don't think she's educated herself an iota with regard to this subject at all, and I think she's just and because of that, that makes her even more disingenuous when it comes to this subject. Is she correct in some other things? Probably. Like with all of these people, I would agree with some things that they say, some of the things that they do debunk. That's but when it comes to the UFO alien situation, you can't trust these people. They can't see the forest for the trees. They've not educated themselves on this. And for another thing, I've had my own experiences. I know for a fact it's real. I encountered an alien creature at one occasion, and I saw a craft on another occasion with a witness. So I know personally that it's real. And plus, we have evidence. There's tons of evidence, including end-all evidence that I've been talking about on this show for a long time. So these people are disingenuous, and they won't face up to it. They don't want to be known that they don't want people to know that they were wrong the whole time about this. And Susan Gerbic will go along with the rest of these people. I believe a lot of them, maybe not all of them, but a lot of them are going to go all the way to the end of the line with this one. They'll go the rest of their lives pretending like this whole thing is fake, and they'll never admit to it because they don't want to be wrong. These people are, I think, a lot of them, they're egomaniacs. They can't admit when they're wrong. That makes them weak. To me, they're weaklings. Okay, moving on. This was Michael Shermer. Okay, Michael Shermer, he's the founding publisher of Skeptic Magazine. I remember seeing this guy on TV since the 90s talking about UFOs, and he's just, he's disingenuous. He doesn't really do any research. I remember the one time he was talking about Roswell. I can't remember, was it a magazine article or in a documentary? He said, yeah, I went to Roswell and I found nothing. He didn't even look. He didn't even talk to anybody. What was he going to find in Roswell back in the 1990s? I mean, nothing. What do you got? The incident happened in 1947. He's always been disingenuous. He's like a lot of debunkers who do all of their scientific research just via proclamation. They don't do any kind of research whatsoever. They completely ignore the data that would completely turn their hypothesis that nothing happened upside down. They just don't even go there because they know it would show that they're wrong, so they don't even discuss it. And he's most certainly one of those kind of debunkers. And of course, I mean, if you're going to be someone who publishes Skeptic Magazine, obviously you're going to say UFOs and aliens aren't real. This guy is very disingenuous. Okay, and then it was for the episode, the Las Vegas Alien Video Translated. I asked this question. Michael Shermer, founding publisher of the magazine Skeptic, has been a long-time debunker of UFOs and aliens. Is he stupid or lying? Okay, 33 votes so far. 12 people, or 36.4%, say he's stupid, while 21 people, or 63.6%, say he's lying. Yeah, you know what? I think he's stupid. I'm going to go with the minority again. I just think this guy's just plain stupid. I don't think he ever really gave any of this any second thought. I think he just dismisses this out of hand, just doesn't believe it, doesn't want to believe it, and just never really studied it. That's what I think. That's my opinion. Again, it doesn't make me right. I'm going to go with the minority again and just say that Michael Shermer, I think he's stupid. And, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's just a liar. The majority believes that. I'm going to go with stupid, though, for Michael Shermer. Okay, let's go on to the next one. Yes, this was this was for the episode Pentagon Lies Again About UFOs and ETs / Vegas Aliens Translation Reaction. I asked this question. This is probably the most popular guy out there. Is astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson stupid or lying about the alien presence on Earth? Okay, now just about this guy. Of course, I find Neil deGrasse Tyson, I think he's a very entertaining fellow. I enjoy seeing him on TV. I enjoy when he's talking. I like his jovial attitude, right? I really enjoy listening to him talk about space and then the universe and everything else. He's always funny, and I enjoy him. However, I don't like when he dismisses the UFO and alien subject and laughs about it. He further stigmatizes it the way he carries on about it, and it's very disheartening. I just... personally, well, we'll go look at the poll and I'll give you my opinion first. Anyway, is astrophysicist, is he stupid or lying? Okay, 33 votes so far. 14 people or 42.4% say he's stupid about it, while 19 people or 57.6% say he's lying about it. I agree with the majority. I think he's lying about it. I think someone of the intelligence of a Neil deGrasse Tyson has to have come to the conclusion that all of these reports couldn't be bogus. I mean, anybody with brains in their head, anyone who is smart like he is, right, would have had to come to this conclusion. And I think he's just playing along with the cover-up. I mean, I think he might not have ever been contacted, right, by someone in the Pentagon saying, hey, you got to help us keep this, make it look like there's nothing to it. I don't think that's anything like that's ever happened. I think he just made that decision on his own. I can't. And plus, he doesn't want to go out on that limb because then he might get ridiculed. I mean, so that's one of the other reasons. So I think he had to come to this conclusion. And the other thing is he has to be aware of this Vegas case stuff. I alerted him. I sent a message out to him on Twitter early on. And not only that, there's all these other cases. Even before that, there's all this other stuff. How could you have two brain cells to rub together and not come to the conclusion that there's some sort of a presence here interacting with the human race? Based on all of the evidence, all of the photos, all of the witness testimony, right? Cattle mutilations, all of this stuff. The military, actually, since 2017, ever since the Pentagon videos were leaked, all of this stuff, there's all the whistleblowers stepping up to the plate. How could you have two brain cells in your head to rub together and come to the conclusion that, how could you have even half a brain in your head and come to the conclusion that there's nothing to it? He knows. He's not stupid. Neil deGrasse Tyson is not a stupid person. So that means he's lying. Hence, that means he's lying. I want to point out something here. I think I should have clarified here. There's different levels of stupid. There's different levels of lying. Okay, like stupid, I mean, some people could be just stupid in that they're oblivious. They just never even thought about it. They don't care. They never were interested in it. They never even tried to educate themselves on it. There's that kind of stupid. And then there's some kind of stupid where some people actually would lie to themselves. It's a form of lying, but it's more of a form of stupidity in my book when you're actually tricking yourself, lying to yourself. So there's different levels of stupid here that we got to keep in mind here too, as well as different levels of lying. I mean, are some people out there, some debunkers, some skeptics who say that there's nothing to this, that there's no alien presence here? Are they lying? They've come to the conclusion personally that there's something here, right? Or even worse, are they lying and they know for a fact because they're part of this government cover-up? There's different versions of lying, and there's different versions of stupid. So keep that in mind with all of these. But yeah, I think that Neil deGrasse Tyson, he's lying about this. That's just my opinion. Because he's too smart to be stupid about it. I guess that's the way to put it. All right. Okay, now for the episode Proof That UFO Debunkers Are Just Like Flat Earthers, I asked this question. Is Bill Nye the Science Guy stupid or lying when it comes to the UFO extraterrestrial phenomenon? Now, here's another guy. He reminds me a lot of Neil deGrasse Tyson. Very entertaining guy. Had that kids show, The Science Guy, where he did all those experiments. But he shows up on CNN over the years here and there. Not lately. I haven't really seen him that much. But, yeah, he came on and act like a sanctimonious idiot when it comes to this subject. Dismisses it out of hand, and you have to ask yourself why. Is he stupid or is he lying? Okay, let's see what the people are saying. 12 people, or 46.2%, say he's lying, while 14, the majority, 53.8%, say he's stupid. You know what? I'm going to go with the majority on this one. I think he is stupid. I think He's never educated himself on this. I think he's more of a. He comes off to me as more of a follower. He wants to fit in with the scientific community and wants to be looked up to and all that kind of thing. So he's just gonna, of course, he's gonna debunk it and say there's nothing to it because a majority of all the other scientists in the scientific world say that. So he wants to do it too. He doesn't want to be looked at as just the guy who does the little kiddie experiments with the beakers and the salt and the water and everything else on the kids show. He wants to be taken seriously. So of course he's going to go along with the majority of the scientific world, and he's not going to put his neck out on put his neck on the limb here. No way. He's going to not even educate himself on it. I don't think he's ever looked into it. I'm just, again, all of this is just my opinion. Doesn't make me right. I'm just I think he's stupid. I don't think he's lying. I think he's really stupid, ignorant on this. He just never sat down and considered the evidence that is out there, never gave it a second thought, just went along with everything else. I mean, people were telling him right to his face in different interviews, like on CNN, for instance, telling him right to his face that they saw UFOs, but to him, oh, it's such a leap to say it's aliens from another world. And he basically doesn't consider any of the other the alien abduction reports, the cattle mutilations, again, all of the pictures, all of the images. How much stuff do we have in the literature at this stage of the game? But yet, to this guy, right? He's like, no. There's nothing to it. It's too much of a leap to think that. Why? Why is it such a leap when there's over 700 quintillion planets in the universe? How is it such a leap with that in mind? But it is to Bill Nye, the science guy. Not too scientific, I would have to say. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Okay. For the episode, retired Army Colonel Carl Nell knows personally there's an NHI presence on Earth, I asked this question. Is Senior SETI Institute astronomer Seth Shostak stupid or lying in his debunking opinions about the UFO and ET NHI issue? Okay, 30 votes so far. Of course, we all know Seth Shostak. He's with the SETI Institute. And, people like... Stanton Friedman, he was very disappointed in Seth Shostak, because Seth Shostak never even bothered, like when they would meet with each other and have debates, have a debate on a show or something. Although Friedman would have read books by Seth Shostak to prepare himself, Shostak didn't even bother reading anything that Stanton Friedman had written, because his mind was already made up. The only way that we're ever going to contact aliens is by listening to see if they send out radio signals, according to Seth Shostak and the SETI cult. All these cultists from SETI, that's what they think. They believe wholeheartedly that there's no question that there's life out on other worlds, but all the evidence that has amassed here over the decades, that doesn't count. Oh, that means nothing. It means nothing, right? Nothing, right? So, what is he? Is he stupid or is he lying? Okay, so far 30 votes. 9 people or 30% say he's stupid, while 21 people or 70% say he's lying. I don't know. I think he's just stupid. I just think from the beginning, this guy just doesn't accept it. He just thinks it's silly. He drank the Kool-Aid way back in the day when people were stigmatizing this early on, and he's never even tried to escape that. He just wants to focus on what if there's any radio signals coming in from space. That's all his concern is. He doesn't care about anything else. He doesn't care about the evidence that we already have here. He doesn't want to look at it. He's already made his mind up. That's not true. So I just think he's still. I'm just going to go with the minority on this one. I think he's stupid. So yeah, Seth Shostak, stupid. Anyway, moving on. Okay, now this was the biggie. This is the final one, and this was for the episode Sheehan reveals alien base locations / Department of Energy hiding UFO secrets, says possible whistleblower. I asked this question: is former All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office Director Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick lying or stupid about the UFO problem and alien presence? 28 votes so far, and he's running away with it, running away with lying. Okay, only one person, or 3.6%, say he's stupid. 27 people, or 96.4%, say he's lying. Of course, I go with the majority on this because we have the proof that he's a liar. We have the proof that he's a liar. Of course, he's the former Arrow director. He resigned there. He quit that job December of 2023, and then he went on that disinformation tour. But then he got caught lying. First off, he was responsible for that ridiculous Arrow historical records report, which was filled with lies, as was that was talked about and discussed by many people in the UFO community. Many people, UFO historians like Richard Dolan, pointed out how it was totally absurd and ridiculous. They really never did any real research on it. They just slapped something together and didn't provide any proof to back up anything that they were saying. But then it was also he was the subject of a small little scandal here earlier in the year, if you remember. Actually, I did a show about this, and this was back in May, when he got busted lying about whether he knew Brandon Fugel, the owner of Skinwalker Ranch, at all, if you ever met him before, and whether he ever had any meeting about Skinwalker Ranch. Anyway, you know what? I'm going to just play a clip here from this episode from May 13th called "The UFO Cover-Up is Collapsing Right Before Our Eyes," where it was exposed, where it was during that time it was exposed that Sean Kirkpatrick was a big giant liar. Oh, now watch this segment. Unfortunately, this whole thing came to pieces, and it turned around. It turned around on Green Street. It turned around on Kirkpatrick because actually what happened was Brandon Fugel actually posted a picture on Twitter just on May 9th. He says, on April 19th, 2018, my team from Skinwalker Ranch was asked to provide a confidential briefing in Washington, D.C. to the United States Senate Select Committee on Intelligence and United States Armed Services Committee. Sean Kirkpatrick was at the head of the table. It lasted 2.5 hours. And of course, he had a picture here showing people sitting in this fancy conference room in the Pentagon, and there's Sean Kirkpatrick sitting at the head of the table. And when in Greenstreet's piece, when he actually was talking with Brandon Fugel, and this is what Fugel said. He says, "Here's the interesting thing: as we commenced the presentation, I was interrupted by a gentleman at the head of the table, and he said, 'Wait, before we proceed any further, I want to establish an understanding. All the gentlemen here, Mr. Fugel, that you're presenting to are all very well aware of the reality of UFO phenomena. So please dispense with any part of your presentation that would seek to convince us of the reality, because we already know.'" Now, Fugel didn't state this during the interview, but actually Greenstreet said he found out that it was actually Sean Kirkpatrick that's made that statement, that told Fugel this. So anyway, he gets, after Fugel posts that picture and says, yeah, he actually met with Kirkpatrick. Kirkpatrick said before he doesn't know who Fugel is, never heard of him, basically, But so Greenstreet calls Kirkpatrick up to have him clarify. "I thought you didn't know Brandon Fugel. You never had any meetings with him. Here, there's a picture of you sitting at a table in Washington having a discussion, sitting there during a PowerPoint presentation." So Greenstreet's forced to put up an update, and he says, "Brandon Fugel has provided photos of a purported 2018 Skinwalker Ranch briefing in Washington, D.C. that seems to show Sean Kirkpatrick in attendance. Not seems to show, Stephen. Shows Sean Kirkpatrick in attendance. Not seems, shows." Anyway, Kirkpatrick admitted to me that he attended a briefing and that Hal Puthoff and Kit Green were there, as shown in this photo. But he says he doesn't remember Skinwalker Ranch ever being mentioned, and that he doesn't recall ever meeting Fugel, and that he thinks it was in 2017 instead of 2018. So yet another weird twist in all of this. Thank you, Mr. Fugel, for the photo. He said, also added in there, "Should note that both the Department of Defense and the Senate Armed Services Committee were both very, very sketchy with me about this briefing." Unfortunately, he had to provide another update because Fugel provided more information. So update number 2 from Mr. Greenstreet. He says, I went through the Skinwalker Ranch PowerPoint PDF that Fugel sent me, and the slide in the briefing photo that above appears to be this information from the presentation. So it does seem Kirkpatrick sat 12 feet from a Skinwalker Ranch presentation, but doesn't remember it being about Skinwalker Ranch. So that's what Kirkpatrick wants you to believe, that he totally, completely forgets that. He must have forgot. Oh, I must have forgot. No, you lied. You didn't. Never forgot. You lied. You just didn't know you had your picture taken that day. That's what it is. And then he also, even further corroboration here to the meeting and when it happened, Fugel has also provided, this is Greenstreet's third update, Fugel has also provided me with the original source photo, and the metadata indeed shows creation date of 4/19/2018. So he actually, Kirkpatrick was saying he didn't know when it was, and he never thought he met him, but he thought it might have been 2017. Well, here we have the proof that shows exactly when this picture was taken. It was on April 19th, 2018, so there's no doubt that he was telling the truth, Fugel was, and that Kirkpatrick is lying. But there's more. Of course there's more. Okay, here was Twitter user Tim McMillan asked Brandon Fugel this question. He says, just to add to the intrigue surrounding all of this, Brandon Fugel, can you confirm that all your prepared presentation materials went missing from your hotel room the night before, forcing you to use a backup set for the briefing? And Fugel responded saying, confirmed, the flash drive containing the briefing was stolen from my room, which was the presidential suite of the Grand Hyatt, Washington, D.C., the morning of the briefing, while locked and attending a quick meeting at my Collier's International D.C. office located nearby. So not only when he attended this meeting, somebody broke into his hotel room and stole the flash drive that had his presentation on it, the where the PDF is that we see later on. But luckily, he had an extra copy. He says, I reported the situation to hotel security and front desk. Fortunately, and to my surprise and relief, my principal investigator and scientist, Eric Bard, had saved a copy to his laptop the night before. The briefing was able to proceed. And then Rob Sheridan asked, quick one, Brandon, was there an agenda sent out ahead to all attendees, and when did all attendees receive an invite to the presentation? Was it made clear to all that Skinwalker Ranch was the scope of the debrief? Brandon Fugel responded. He says, yes, it was crystal clear. The sole purpose of the briefing was to provide an update regarding the research activities and data gathered under my ownership of Skinwalker Ranch. There was obviously advance notice and an agenda circulated. And then later on, this was interesting. Rob Sheridan wrote later on, he says this, he says, just to be clear to all the debunkers, there was and can't be any room for error, misunderstanding, or recollection going into, sitting in on, and leaving the Skinwalker Ranch brief regarding location, scope, time, date, and attendees. It's crystal clear. Sean Kirkpatrick knew exactly the scope of the brief prior to attending and the attending list, meaning he had to have it planned in his calendar in advance. He is also quoted in the meeting informing all attendees when he addresses Brandon that he was well aware of UAP. In conclusion, Sean Kirkpatrick received prior notice and the agenda with the scope of the presentation, listed attendees, date of when and where it was going to be held. Based on his statement below in comparison to the accommodations and communications he received in advance of said meeting, Sean Kirkpatrick is a liar. Enough said. And then he has one of the quotes here from Sean Kirkpatrick. I did not know it was about Skinwalker Ranch until later. I don't recall it being referenced by that name during the briefing. And then we have Lou Elizondo chiming in. He writes, now that we have further evidence of former Arrow directors lying to the public, how long will it take to make the connection to the coordinated lies between he and the Pentagon's Public Affairs Office? I suspect some in the press are already on the case. Thank you, Mr. Fugel, for calling out yet another untruth. Hey, Pentagon, the American taxpayer deserves better. So we have caught Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick in a lie, and what this does, it makes everything that he's been talking about null and void. The Arrow report, all of his assertions that there's this cult in the Pentagon, everything. You can't believe a word he said. He's part of the control group, as I talked about in a recent podcast. I mean, he's working at the Oak Ridge National Laboratory in Tennessee as the top dog down there, which we all know is suspected of being part of this whole thing. But anyway, it was interesting. You had the damage control group come out. Of course, Mick West, the biggest debunker of our age, in responding to somebody posted this. This was a user on Twitter named Jay. He says, of everyone present at this briefing, Kirkpatrick has the biggest stack of files in front of him. Lots of laughs. For someone not into UFOs, he certainly came prepared. And if you look at the picture, there's, Kirkpatrick has this big stack of papers on there. But what does that matter? It's not a big deal. But Mick West, he wants to show us the shiny object, right? That's what they like to do. He writes this: I don't think that's a stack of files in front of Kirkpatrick. It's a notepad like you'd typically get in a meeting. They each have one. He's not taking notes, and he's not looking at the presentation. He's looking at the camera like, why are you filming? So I wrote back to him. I said this: I've seen some attempts at damage control in my life, but this here has to go down as one of the most obvious and pathetic. You really do believe your flock is a bunch of drooling, wide-eyed morons who'll believe anything you say. And then Mick West responded to me. He says, you think it's a stack of documents? And I wrote back to him. I said, I don't care if it's a stack of pancakes. The guy lied. So basically, what they try to do is they try to take your attention off the fact that the guy's a big liar, and let's worry about what's in front of him. What's that stack of papers? Oh, it's just notebooks. See, nothing's going on there. Shiny objects. That's what they love to do. Well, there was no response back from Mick West, and probably he knew he lost that argument. So there you go. Obviously, this guy's a liar. He knows all about it. He told Brandon Fugel he knows all about it. So obviously he's a liar. And so in a way though, he is stupid though, because how could you, he went out and told lies that he was able to get shown, lies that were able to be shown that were proven that he was lying. You had Brandon Fugel step forward and said, what are you talking about? Look at you. Here's a picture of you. So, I mean, obviously this he is somewhat stupid at the same time. And now, of course, he's the top guru out there at Oak Ridge National Laboratory. He's the chief technology officer. Oak Ridge, of course, that place is considered to be looking into UFO, looking perhaps part of the cover-up here that they've been involved. Actually, it's been a UFO. It was also a UFO hotspot. So he knows all about it, and he's obviously lying, as has been proven. It's been shown that this guy's a liar, so he can't be trusted. And everything that whole Arrow report, because of his lies, that it pretty much it does. It null and voids that Arrow report and everything else that he said. All the other lies, everything he says, you can't trust him. You can't trust him because of this. He got caught lying. So yeah, he's a liar, and so I agree with the majority on that. Okay, we're going to do a bonus one here. This one is not that one. This is from the most recent episode. If ETs are here to help humankind, this could be their plan. I ask this question: are ETs here to save humanity from destroying itself? And 28 votes so far. 9 people, or 32.1%, say yes, while 19 people, or 67.9%, say no. Of course, I've talked about this a lot in the past, and with that show, the previous show from yesterday, the whole purpose of that was just to throw out another hypothesis, just more speculation, because I don't really know. I don't have any answers. None of us really have the absolute answer of why they're here. All I could tell you is that there is something here. I know that for a fact. A lot of us out there know this for a fact. But why are they here? What are they doing here? What's the absolute end game for them here? I don't know. I don't know the answer. I hope that it's not to hurt us, but it could be. It could be. And I would have to say I'm going to lean with the no's. Yeah, I think they could. They might not be here to save humanity from destroying itself. It could be for other reasons. And because I think the whole alien abduction phenomenon, it's terrifying and it's wrong and on so many levels. I mean, you're basically treating human beings like guinea pigs. That's what it is. and doing something to us against our will. I mean, taking us away from our environment, and then and erasing erasing the memories of people, and then and sometimes unsuccessfully or totally, and then setting them off again, just like we would do to animals. They're treating us like animals, and I don't think that anyone in the human race should be happy about that. I mean, is it for a good purpose? Possibly. That was the whole purpose of yesterday's show. But I don't know about that. I don't know. I mean, David Jacobs is he came to a conclusion that they could be here to take over the planet, and that's how he studied this way more than me, way more than you, way more than anyone. He met with all these abductees, and that's the conclusion he reached. So I have to, unfortunately, I think I'm going to have to agree with the majority here. And yeah, I don't know. I think there's more of a chance that they're here not to help humanity, that they're here for themselves for some reason. That's where I'm at with it at this point. Anyway, I want to say this. Again, getting back to the debunkers. Now, there's some people I didn't even talk about. For instance, I could have talked about Garrett Graff, who wrote that terrible book about UFOs, which was completely bogus. I criticized that book on an earlier episode earlier this year. That was awful. That was awful. Is he a debunker or not? He's not a regular debunker. He's just someone who decided I know what the establishment wants. This is my opinion on someone like him. I think that he knows what the establishment wants, and he knew that a lot of people would buy his book, because it seems like people, the major news, mainstream news, they go along with whatever the establishment wants them to go along with. And so when if the Pentagon wants people to continue believing that there's no cover-up and there's no such thing as aliens, and Garrett Graff, he's a smart guy, right? He's written a lot of different other books about government and things going on in Washington and that kind of stuff. But he realized, you know what, I could write something like this and probably make a good buck out of it, because they'll bring me on TV, they'll show, they'll feature me, and I'll get to talk about it. Basically, I'll be getting free advertising for writing a debunking style book where I debunk it all. And that's what I think he did. I think he's a smart guy that did that on purpose, because he knew it would behoove him. It wasn't for mankind, it was for himself. Again, all of this is just opinion too, so if anyone wants to be mad about it, this is my opinion. That's all it is. And then there's also, like I've talked about too, there's people I think in the UFO community itself who I think could be plants. That's just unfortunate as it is. Like, for instance, I think I don't trust Ben Hansen. I enjoy listening to the guy. Like, I think he did different UFO shows. Like, he was on that one on the Discovery Plus channel. Okay, that's all fine and dandy. Like, it seems like he's there, and of course he's former government employee, former FBI, right? And he's on these shows, and he shows up on News Nation a lot talking about UFOs. Like, but he'll never cross the line when the evidence gets finally presented that shows that there's no doubt about it that we're not alone. He won't go there. He's there to make sure that doesn't happen. That's just my opinion. It doesn't make me right. Okay, just want to point it out. But I don't trust people like him now, because of what happened earlier this year when Scott Roeder went on News Nation and Ben Hansen was there. Now, Scott Roeder's a video analysis expert, a crime scene reconstruction expert, over 30 years experience, and he's made a determination that there were aliens in that Vegas backyard. And then Ben Hansen, that's just a shadow and this and that. It's such a leap and those kind of things, right? That's what the kind of things he was saying. Well, then I don't trust you anymore, because how could you just come? Why not say something like, "Oh, that's interesting," or "I'll have to look into this more. I'm not sure. That's very interesting," and leave it at that. No, he jumped right to, "Oh, that's such a leap." Right now, he didn't do any research of his own. He's just reacting there. He was just reacting to Scott Roeder's evidence, the proof that he was trying to, the points he was trying to make. And what's does Ben Hansen do? That's such a leap to say there were aliens there, just shadows and things like that. And obviously, as we all know now, Hansen was most certainly wrong, because there was a lot more going on in that yard than what was known at that time. We weren't even presenting all of it at that point in time. So I can't trust certain people in the UFO community at this point either. Hansen there, like it's okay for him to like have people present information or stories about different UFO cases from the past or different encounters with aliens and have people just wonder whether it's true or not, right? Because it doesn't prove anything. That's fine, right? But when you finally present the real evidence, the hard evidence that shows, right, that proves it once and for all, oh, no, oh, that's such a leap. Right. So that's why there's other people out there just beyond the debunkers. There's plants, I believe, potential plants within the UFO community itself there to, pull the lever and stop things in their tracks in the event when the real evidence raises its head. Now, is that the true? Is that 100% with Ben Hansen? I could be totally wrong. That's just my opinion of him. That's just my opinion of him. He seems like a nice guy. I enjoy listening to him or watching the shows where he was on talking about UFOs and his research and that stuff. However, again, when he was presented with evidence like the Las Vegas alien stuff, what did he do? You saw what he did. How could you trust him after that? How could you trust anybody who will not provide any sort of scientific analysis themselves? They'll just disagree without providing any sort of reasoning for it other than to say, I don't believe it. It's just shadows. It's such a leap. You had experts telling you otherwise, but yet this is the choice that Ben Hansen decided to take. That's the avenue he wanted to go down. So that's where I'm at. You have to watch out because there are people within the UFO community. Be careful. I don't know which one is who to trust and who not to trust when it comes to this subject. I just don't know sometimes. But I don't trust Ben Hansen now. I just don't. Now I don't know what is. Again, it could just be he could just be obtuse. That could be the reasoning for that. I don't know. But does he fall in with these other debunkers? No, not really, because he seems like he's interested in the subject. But again, why would you react that way? Why would you react that way? If you're interested in the subject and you're interested in UFOs and you have no explanation for some of these cases, and then you're presented with information that shows that there was something there, and yet you take that stance immediately without ever doing any sort of investigation yourself, and you just made a conclusion with pontification, just like the debunkers. Something's up with that, in my mind. That sends up red flags. So that's where I'm at with that. Anyway, I want to say this. I want to say thank you all for joining me today. Until next time.